All right, now I'm going to talk about Obsession bows today. Here we have a Fusion 7 on the left. This is in a stormy red camouflage. And this is also the Fusion 7, so it has a 7-inch brace height. This was new in 2015, and it has binary cams. And so typically with binary cams, you have limb stops. Then for 2016, they came out with the Defcon 6, and there's other ones, of course, like Defcon 7. The 6 refers to its brace height. In both of these cases, these bows their draw length is based on being cam specific, so you'd actually have to get a different cam to change the draw length. But they also came out with module versions as well. And then this is an cryptic tactical camouflage. And the one thing you can say, and again, it's still a binary cam, but the one thing you can say about these Obsession bows, and probably in comparison to just about any other bow that you can buy off the shelf, is it has the coolest camouflage, in my opinion, that you can get from a off-the-shelf bow. So it looks custom to me. So you get essentially a custom-looking bow. You'll notice that their bows have a BowTech appearance to them, to somewhat, as far as how the riser and things like that look. This is a BowTech RPM 360. You'll notice that the cam system's a little different. If you look, you'll see there's yokes on each side. So these are more of a dual or binary cam hybrid kind of system. Hybrid. And then over here you can see these are the binary cams. So this one actually has a string stop. Now, I would say that when you talk about 7-inch brace height bows, you're interested in comfort and shootability and a little bit easier draw cycle, while the 6-inch brace heights, you're really talking about speed. This is RPM 360 set at 28.5 inches. The Fusion 7 is set at 29 inches, and the Defcon 6 is set at 28.5 inches. These two bows are actually 70 pounds each, and the Defcon 6 is actually an 80-pound bow. And so I'm going to shoot my 3 typical arrows through it and tell you my impressions of the bow a little bit. We have, of course, our 380 grain arrow, we have a 409 grain arrow, and we have our 655 grain arrow. One other thing to mention again is with binary cams, you typically have your limb stops, meaning that the stop actually hits the limb, while on this bow you actually have a string stop where it'll actually hit the string or the cables. And you can actually, on these Obsession bows, adjust your valley by moving this right there. It actually increase the valley or shorten the valley, making it a little faster, or increase it, maybe make it a little slower, but have a longer valley. But anyway, that's a really nice feature to have, is be able to adjust your draw stop. Anyway, let me go ahead and shoot them through the chronograph. All right, the first one through the chronograph is the 360. Perfect valley still, even with the string stops. Really nice valley. We got 310. Let me shoot a second one. Again, this is at 28.5, I believe. Duplicate 28. So that was 310. Let's go ahead and shoot the Fusion 7. Maybe on this side. All right, so now I have the Fusion 7. This is a 7-inch brace height bow. It's a 29 inches. So I'm kind of curious to see which one's actually faster. because one, we gave up, you know, the 7-inch brace height should slow it down, but this is set at 29 inches instead of 28.5. But that bow's supposed to be rated faster, so this should be slower. Let's find out. We got our 380 grain arrow again. Great Valley also has the kisser button on this one. We have 301, so it is a little bit slower. And the kisser button may take a couple feet per second off. I will say this bow is easier to draw, though. .557, I don't believe that one. Let's shoot it again through the chronograph. All right, let's shoot the Fusion 7 through again. Really easy valley. We have 301 again. So the RPM 360 is 10 feet per second faster than the Fusion 7. Let's go ahead and shoot the 80-pound Defcon 6 through. Now this one's at 28.5 inches. It was also rated at 360. But remember, this one's at 80 pounds. So this arrow is probably a little light for it, but I know it's rigid enough to handle it. Wouldn't recommend it more than just once in an occasional moon. And it has a kisser, so that might slow it down a little bit. But it should be really fast numbers. Let's see what it comes out to be. Remember, the RPM 360 came out at 310, but at 70 pounds. Really nice valley. You can tell it's harder to draw because it's the weight. And we got 323. And we couldn't shoot them through again one last time. We found with the 80 pounds, when they're both rated at similar speed bows, is that we're getting about an extra 13 feet per second. Now, I should mention about pro chronographs. It's typical for the pro chronos to show about 5 to 7 feet per second slower than what I've seen with other chronographs that you see at archery shops. So I think in general these pro chronos always kind of say archery arrows are a little bit slower. So if you wanted to compare it to any other shop bow, you might want to think about that. And if it isn't a pro chrono, probably it's going to seem to be shooting a little bit faster because of that. That's my experience and experience with a lot of other people I've talked to. Anyway, let's shoot this one through the pro chrono again. Nice solid back wall. It says 412, which we know is not correct. .326, so that sounds a lot more realistic. Let's shoot it again. So you can see how this different little things can affect your chronograph. So it's good to compare the same bows on the same day if you're trying to do it a little bit scientifically, and shoot kind of at the exact same spot from the same location. Don't trust anything completely, though. Verify, double check. .324. So those are at least giving us more steady averages. Let's try the 655 grain arrow. We got 242. Now we have the Fusion 7 again. Probably a little easier to draw that. 232, so that makes a little more sense. Let me shoot through the chronograph. .231, so that makes a lot more sense. Let's go ahead and shoot the Obsession Defcon 6. All right, I'm going to shoot the Defcon 6 again through at 80 pounds. .254, so we're having pretty good consistency with this bow. All right, so we have some impressions of the Defcon already. I can tell you it's probably one of the nicest drawing 80-pound bows I have. You've seen that I have the Franken throttle at 80 pounds. I have a King Cobra at 80 pounds. I have a Matthews Safari and also a Matthews Wake. This is right up there with the Matthews Wake when it comes to draw. The Valley's actually probably is probably longer than the Wake. The Wake just seems a little easier to pull from an initial standpoint, but this has a 6-inch brace height too. This is a really impressive bow so far. I don't think it'll stand up for the speed of a King Cobra, but I'll tell you, I'll shoot this over the King Cobra at 80 pounds anyway. Let's go ahead and shoot a 400 grain arrow for it and compare that to the RPM 360. So here's our 402, 409 grain arrow. .105 grain arrow through the chronograph. Looks like we're getting around 318 feet per second. Let me shoot it again. 405 grain arrow again. .316. So we've got real good consistent results. Let me shoot the RPM 360 through it, Paul. All right, RPM 360. .303. Fusion 7 again. 405 grain arrow. Duplicate 293. Let's shoot the bow. We're getting about 10 feet per second different from the Fusion 7 and the RPM 360, and then we're probably getting another 10 to 15 feet per second faster between the Defcon 6. So between these two bows we're getting about 10 feet per second, and between these two bows we're getting about 10 to 15 feet per second. Again, this is at 80 pounds, and these are both 70-pound bows. Anyway, I think the bows all feel great. They're very, very similar. A limb stop gives you just a little bit more solid back wall. Both are all of them are smooth pulling, and this is just the craziest, coolest camo you can find. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will be sure to post another video on another bow.